Hey, I'm Joe Mathis.
Welcome back. I'm Todd Wade.
I'm Joe Mathis. You always say, wait, I say my name
This
first.
is the Joe and Todd Show. So
right.
glad you're listening to us again.
And I hope
Welcome
we're
back.
doing a good job.
But how
Will
would
you
know?
tell us we're doing a good job?
How would you know if no one told you?
Yeah, that's
Well,
what we're
guess
talking about.
what? That's the topic of today's podcast.
No, I
How to know you're doing a good job without someone telling you.
I love this topic because I think so many times as creatives, and I am front and center in this topic, I need affirmation. I need to know that I'm liked. I need to know all those things. And especially when I was younger, that was so important to me and it was so valuable to me. And I remember when I first really got going in events, especially my own company, and that feeling of, did I do a good job? You know, am I doing what I'm supposed to do, and how do I know? You know, and I think after working in organizations, and I've worked in government, I've worked in nonprofit sector, I've worked in companies, and it's all hard. You know, if you don't have someone telling you you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, how do you know it?
Right.
And that was never as true as working for yourself. How do you know you're doing a good
It's
job?
especially true if you're the boss of the company or partners in a company. Who's above you, giving you your review and telling you whether you're doing a good job or not. And it boils down to it's the client telling you. But if your client isn't saying anything, what are the clues? Because you were telling me your first 5 years of working in business as your own company doing events, your client wasn't telling you you're doing a good job. And you look back now and you can kind of see some hints and clues of them telling you were doing a good job, but you couldn't see them at the time. So one of our goals in this podcast is to help people see some of those clues and clue into them that they're doing a good job. So what were some of those things that you can look back now and say, oh yeah, actually they were saying I was doing a good job by X.
Yeah, so I've thought about this a lot. You know, one of our larger clients we work with almost every day has been my client for 17 years. And I think I look back to those early days and they weren't affirming. You know, it's really been recent years I've really felt that affirmation. And I was always surprised, like, oh, wow, they called me back again. I didn't know that was going to happen. And I think I can look back now and know they were telling me I was doing a good job. But a lot of times I took things as criticism. I remember one of the things was when they gave me feedback. And I did not think of feedback. I think feedback is negative. I didn't take it as positive. I didn't realize that if they were giving me feedback on what we want to do next time, that's telling me there's going to be a next time. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good sign.
I think that was a really good sign. I think for me, it was like, oh my word, I really missed the mark. I didn't do that. You know, it was like, I remember my client saying one time, you know, we really didn't have enough people. And you really got to build a bigger team. You got to have more people here on site. And I don't really care what it costs, but we just got to have more people. And so to me, I was attacked almost with that. Like, oh no, I didn't have enough people. I should have known better to have more people. I needed to have more people with me. I couldn't do it myself. And I realized for them, they were needing me to be present with them in this process. And I was off doing stuff. I was, you know, putting tablecloths on or whatever. And they needed me to be present with them. And so I began to learn from that. But it didn't hit me for a number of years that because they were giving me feedback, they weren't saying
that little word next time.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Oh, I failed. You know, because I think I kept thinking that's what had happened. And it's been a weird experience with a lot of clients who have the culture, especially a feedback culture. Culture. Before I really learned and understood that that's part of a growth. And when you're growing in something, growing into a position, growing into a job, growing into a client relationship, feedback is crucial for that growth. I always saw feedback as criticism of what I had done and that I wasn't doing a good job. And so it took that changing mindset really to see that. And again, I think as creatives, that's one of the struggles is, you know, I think of my brother taking I remember very clearly going with him to the record producer with all these original songs and, you know, 25 original songs, and the record producer saying, Yeah, this is a good one. This will sell.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that car ride home. I mean, I was just a kid, but I remember that car ride home of feeling like, wow, that was complete failure. It was
Only one song
there's
was
only
good.
one song was good. It was like it was hard to see that as, oh, okay, this one song we did great. Now let's figure out how to make these other songs like that, or how can we bring that together to make that successful.
They didn't say all the songs were bad.
Right. Exactly.
So you know how to do it once.
Yeah, this song's great. Again. Let's work on it. And I think it's the same way in a lot of creative work. I think a lot about
and they
artists.
Didn't tell you to go home either, right? They told you to come back with more.
Exactly. Work on this one.
So that's another clue. Is, I mean, besides them saying next time, it's actually literally saying, can you start planning this next event? Because obviously, if they're asking you back, you did something right.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times we try to measure our likes with outward affirmation. We want to hear that thank you note, or we want to see that thank you note. We want to see that Facebook like. We want to see that review. That tells us we're doing a good job when someone reviews us and says, oh, you did a great job. And I think especially like even in our position now where we have that pressure, I have an outside consultant saying, you've got to get those Google reviews. It's like, but I don't want to, I don't, know. Yeah. And there's that pressure to feel like, who do I get them from? And what's that look like? And I think we've got to get past that and really move past that to, there's other ways to perceive that you're doing a good job. One, I think I've got to be in a space where I'm more confident. And so again, that took a long time to get there, but I think I arrived at you honestly, there I go with honestly again, but you really helped me with that because you, especially our early days, you were able to kind of bring out and say, you did a great job in that meeting. Here's what I really liked about that. You did great with that. And that built my confidence to know I have a good product. And so even if we lose a client or someone goes a different direction or someone says, hey, you didn't meet our needs, I can still rest with, I think I did. I think I did what we signed up for. I think I did well. And to feel inside that security, I don't have to have a client affirm me. I don't have to have someone else say, oh, you did a good job, pat you on the back. I can know it myself. And I think that's a huge step for creatives to take, is to build that confidence and to know, yeah, I did good work. I like what I do and I do a good job at it.
So another marker that we wrote down here to talk about was if you are having some of your clients or past clients maybe refer work to you, then that's a way of them saying, a lot of clients will say, oh, great job, good job with the event. But if that's all they do and they don't put any action to it, it could just be words. I mean, maybe they're honest. Maybe they're being honest that you did a great job, but you don't know for sure until they're actually telling their friends, hey, these guys are amazing. You've got to use them for your next event or whatever. And so then you start getting people coming to you saying, hey, this person said, we need to talk to you guys. We need your help. And
I think that's exactly right. I think where that client or whoever it is, customer, whatever, places their value. And when you hear them valuing you for what you've produced or what you've done. So, I think that's a good, when I recommend a restaurant to somebody, I'm valuing that restaurant. And I may not have told, we have lots of friends who own restaurants. I may not have told them, hey, I would love coming to your restaurant. It should be obvious because I go back to it. But I think it's even more so when I say, hey, I recommended some people come and talk to you about this. That's huge. And I think that's something else I can look for as a creative. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then we talked about client surveys. Do we talk enough about that?
We talked about that today?
I think you mentioned it, but we didn't really go into it. So, we've actually done we've taken a list of our, major clients that we do a lot of work with, and we sent all of them a survey and just kind of said, hey, how are we doing? We want to hear your honest feedback, and we want to know about areas that we do well, areas that we don't do well.
And I think the important part of that is that we use an outside company. We didn't do that ourselves.
Yes.
We wanted that honest feedback. So we had someone else take it and kind of assimilate. We could figure out who people were, but initially the conversation, it wasn't about those individual people. It was about overall kind of themes and words that came back. And that was really, really helpful because it was anonymous. I wasn't asking someone, hey, will you write a Google review
Yeah,
for me?
it's a whole lot easier to
Yeah,
have that
and
conversation.
I think I think about brides when we do weddings,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that attitude of I couldn't have done this without you. Those words, and I think we have those in our
Yes.
proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or encore.
yes,
Also, let's do this again.
yeah, let's do this again. Let's make this happen again. And I'll confess, one of the weddings we did a few years ago, I wasn't sure we hit a home run. I felt like we had a couple of things kind of fall, and we had checked all the boxes in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and they were really nice to us. They invited us to their house afterwards. But I didn't know I had done a really good job until they called us for the next one.
The daughters.
The next,
the
sister's
the
wedding
sister's
is like,
wedding.
oh wow, that's
cool.
awesome.
They really did like it.
Yeah, and they've also referred
Yes.
other people to us and that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
But I think that was one of the cool things about that. It wasn't we did a good job. It wasn't because we checked all the boxes and did everything perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes as creatives, we get hung up in that. We get hung up in, oh, I failed at getting this part returned correctly, or I failed at making this person happy, and so where do I fall now, and what's that look like? And I'm my own worst critic. I think as creatives, that's a lot of times the case. I'm going to ask you a question. So
Great.
you always, to me, you're a confident person. To me, you do a good job. To me, you don't need affirmation. And I can't figure out sometimes exactly why that is. I've noticed when I give affirmation that you receive it cautiously. So tell me about your journey of becoming confident in what you do, and creativity especially. How did you decide I'm good at being creative? And we'll take a commercial break while he pauses to think about that, because that wasn't on the notes. That was out of the blue completely. We have these content meetings. We talk about this, but I am kind of curious. Like, do you have an answer about that?
Well, I mean, I guess, thinking back to just I'm going back in my mind to my grade school years and my high school years and my college years, and just thinking, I got that information that I was good at being creative. I took some art classes, worked with my dad in commercial design, and he told me I was doing a good job. I took classes in architectural design, and they told me, give me good grades, and I tried hard, and then through college, I got good grades as well, and got praised by the professor. So I guess I just felt that I was capable and good at what I was doing.
Those times you've been knocked down, those times where you felt like, well, they don't like me, I didn't do good. Mm-hmm. How has that enabled you, that early praise, how has that enabled you as an adult to get up and walk again?
I think hopefully I learned from those experiences, and because I don't know, this doesn't sound humble, but I feel like I'm humble because I can take criticism and just build it into who I am and do better next time. So, yeah. I mean, that's what frustrates me the most, and I won't name names, but I think I've got it. There's a client that I worked with in my past, and I'm pretty sure she gave me a negative review as someone that she worked with, because the company had asked for reviews. And so I think I got a glimpse of that review one time, and it was like he was hard to work with or something. But I never formally got that review. Didn't officially get that review from her. It was just like the company got it. And so that was the frustrating part to me, that she never said anything about that to me. So I never knew, like, how was I supposed to know how to improve? That was the frustrating part of that whole thing. So I would rather get honest feedback and criticism so that I didn't mind in architecture school the critiques that we got on projects, because as long as they were straightforward and like I could understand what they were saying, that was awesome, because I could go back and change it. I want to please, I want to do well with what I'm doing. So if someone's giving me constructive criticism, That's the most helpful thing to me.
And I think, yeah, and going back to...
Does that answer your question?
It does. It absolutely does. And I think going back to the bookend of how we started with, if you're not getting that feedback, that's probably communicating something in itself.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I want to say in this is, again, probably one of the...
Did you say the other end of the book?
The bookend of our conversation.
Oh,
the beginning
the
of the book
bookend.
and the other, yeah. Whatever.
Never heard that.
I think the other thing that has really helped me working with you is you have been able to help me let go of people, let go of clients,
people's opinions,
let go of let go of opinions, or let go of thoughts. And as a creative, I want to take them all in, and I live for those reviews. I live for that whatever, and I think you really helped me. Like, it's okay, these people like you if this person does or not. And I think about one of the first things we went through together of kind of a client firing us, if you will. It was a mutual decision. We were ready to let them go too. And we just weren't meeting our goals or whatever the case was. And I think we were doing a good job with them. They didn't perceive that. They had a different expectation. And I think when we walked out of that meeting knowing, hey, this wasn't a good fit, and I think those were your words of like, we should never have taken that on to start with. We weren't in the right place. That wasn't a client for us. And that really helped me as a creative to think about, you're right, that wasn't a client for us. That wasn't somebody, that was honestly the first time I'd ever been fired in that situation. I'd never been fired from a job. I've never been fired as a consultant, as an event planner, anything like that until that time. And there was a certain amount of freedom in it that you helped me walk through, that I didn't internalize it. And even when I think back on it, when we can laugh about it or whatever the case is, and we can look back on it, there's not that internalization of, oh, wow, I failed. It's very much of, it wasn't a good fit. And I think that's one of the things I want to communicate to our listeners today is, if you're a creative, you're doing good work. You know in your gut it's good work. Don't let someone's negative opinion of you shape who you are and and internalize that and think through it. That's not fair. That's not fair, because we don't know where their opinion came from. It could be they don't have taste. It could be they don't have experience. It could be they're not cultured. It could be they're not sophisticated. It could be any number of things. It could be they had a bad day and they're taking it on you. And so I think,
well, in the same vein, you want to be able to take criticism if it's constructive, if it's going to be helpful, and it's going to help you do better. So one of the things we talked about, I think, is really important to say is, if you're hearing a client say, "Have you done this?"
Oh yeah.
Or "Where are you on this?" Versus, "Oh, thank you for doing that," kind of out of surprise, or "I hadn't gotten to that," or "I didn't think of that." I think that little phrase, "Oh, thank you," says so much more than just "Oh, thank you."
Oh, I love that.
Because it shows that you're ahead of them. You're thinking ahead. You're kind of ahead of the game. And especially in the planning business, that's our job, is to be planning ahead and making sure we're a step ahead of the client. And so I think looking for those opportunities where they are to be a step ahead of the client.
I think that's right. And I know, we talk about, we always have an agenda when we go to a meeting. We always carry that agenda, bring that out, whatever. And I heard a client not long ago say, "I can always count on you guys to have that agenda." And I love that. To me, that communicated a lot more, because it communicated, I can count on you guys to have
reliable,
organized thought. We know what we're going to plan. We're going to talk about it. It's not just going to be a session of sitting around and looking at each other. So good stuff. Yeah. How to know you're doing a good job if no one tells you.
Yeah.
One of the things
recap.
I started saying
recap.
Hit some key points here.
Okay, so one is they call you back to do it again. One is they actually are giving you constructive criticism about how to do it better next time. Keyword next time. They're saying, let's do this again. They verbalize, let's do this again. Or they're saying, oh, thank you, I hadn't thought of that. That means you're doing the job that they don't have to do, with some other stuff.
No, all those are
kind
great.
of hits the big ones.
Yeah, and I think again, the feedback thing is huge, and I really, really like what you said about, oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you for doing that. Or, oh, yeah, that's good. Any kind of affirmation that may not even be, it's more like, I hadn't thought of it yet.
Thinking about.
Yeah, like, oh, I need to think about that.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. As I think about creatives out there right now, my mind goes to those who are discouraged in what they're doing because they don't feel that they're doing a good job. And I think about especially the 20-somethings, who are trying. I've got a friend on Facebook I saw the other day. He's like, I'm trying to be creative. I've done this stuff and I just can't do it anymore. I'm trying to. I've got to take care of my family. I've got to take care of my people, and it was really interesting to me. I didn't know how to respond to that, and I was trying to figure that out because part of me is maybe you do need to become a little bit responsible and do this as a hobby rather than a full-time job. But part of me was definitely like, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. And again, I think that's part of the heart of this podcast is to say, keep on going,
encouraging those people.
Let's make it happen, and you can do it. There may be times you need to take a part-time job, or there may be times you need to. But if you've been given creativity in your soul, you've got to express it, and you've got to let it out. You've got to be creative, and you've got to do it. And sure, that might be a hobby if that's the space you're in. But I think my goal is to tell people, do it, make it happen. It's okay. What you've got's good.
Do what you love, even if you have to take a part-time job
or a full-time job
to pay for it,
or two jobs.
Yeah,
but make it happen.
Yeah.
This has been good.
I love the chance to encourage you guys. Appreciate you listening to us and watching us.
I do hope my journey or our journey is helpful to you. If you're younger and need to hear from old guys, we'd love to have you email us. I'm Joe at rumbledrum.com.
And I'm Todd at rumbledrum.com.
You can also respond on our Facebook page at rumbledrum.com. You can fill out a form, and we get those. We know what those say, and it's really super helpful to us. We also see our social media. Sometimes we read it right there, and we also get a recap at the end of the day sometimes of what those things say. That's really valuable to us, and to know your feedback on the Joe and Todd Show. So we'd love to hear from you. The thing that would mean the most to us is if you would like us, follow us, but also if you would tell your friends and pass the word, help other creatives in your world know, hey, this might be helpful. This is worth listening to. So we appreciate you. Hope you have a great day. You're doing a good job.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.